we are here to talk about AR and VR technologies. I hope many of you might have heard about AR and VR technologies because this is one of the most emerging branch these days. In full form, we can call them as augmented reality and virtual reality. And not just in the part of your gaming sector, because few years back, these technologies were more concerned in the gaming sector. And after that, they involved in your entertainment sector, in movie industry, in your some video developments. But at present, these things are available in almost every domain, ranging from education sector, retail sector, medicine sector, as well as your business industries. Everywhere you will find some footsteps of AR and VR technologies. And the same we are going to talk about today. So I'll be using some PPTs to describe various vectors. But the main trouble when we talk about AR and VR is that we need some headsets. Some hardware is always required if you need to experience the real world experience with the AR and VR technologies. So in order to make it easy to understand for all of you, I'll be making use of several videos here just to give you an experience that how it appears when you utilize this technology in different domains. So I have collected here variety of videos from almost every area, like from civil industries, from electronics, from electrical, and you can also find some other examples that how these technologies are being utilized for student training, for workshop trainings, etc. Because if later on you people will be utilizing it somewhere in your institutions, so what ideas you can keep in mind that how it may work with students or what experiences your students may expect from the technologies. So starting with the first thing, the introduction to your technologies, because these are some new things that for most of you might be a beginning concept. So what is your AR and VR first of all? When we talk about augmented reality, as the name indicates, some real world concepts we are trying to create, but how we do that? In case of your augmented reality, what we say that whatever you have in the digital world, we try to superimpose that in the real life. That becomes your augmented reality. Means we are augmenting something from a virtual domain and we are trying to realize it in our surrounding atmosphere. For example, by utilizing a AR device or maybe an application that supports AR, we can plant some tree right in front of you here in the middle of the conference hall. And you can just experience that visualization with the help of some specialized devices. Similarly, when we talk about virtual reality, exactly opposite to this. In case of augmented reality, we are trying to impart things in your real world. But in case of virtual reality, we try to go ourselves into that virtual world. We try to be a part of that virtual world. And this is the main difference we have in both these technologies. Although when we start utilizing them in variety of domains for some practical applications, they are several times used in collaboration, or they are also used alternatively to achieve different objectives out of your work. So we'll just have some idea about how each one of them are working individually as well as when we combine them. So every aspect of this we'll try to learn. First of all, in case of AR, as I told you, you can impose things here. So the first most requirement you have in case of AR is certain applications. That can be a mobile application, for example, that has ability to impose things in your surroundings. So you can find unlimited applications for this at present. You can install them on your mobile phones and you can start superimposing things in your surroundings. And for this, one of the best example that you can try is on your Android as well as on iOS systems. There is an application named Skyview. You will find that in your Play stores also. What that Skyview application does is, wherever you are sitting, you can see all the constellation plots, your planets, etc., with the help of that application. Means you can just take your camera or your mobile phone in different directions, and it will give you exact idea where a particular planet is, and it will just give you an idea about how it is structured over there, what is its appearance, and along with this, some technical information if you need about that particular satellite constellation or maybe for the planet. So that creates, we can say, like an immersive experience for the students. So when you are trying to teach your students that about your planets or maybe about constellations, etc., one option that we had traditionally is with the help of your book chapters. When we have studied earlier, we used to see book chapters, we used to read things, or more than that, we could just have images printed on the books. So that was one way we could read things, but that could not boost the imagination power of students. That factor was missing in that case, because we could just see, okay, that this looks like this, but how it appears in real world, or how it can be viewed in a 360-degree domain. So that visualization is possible with the help of the technology. We can just have a complete interaction through application to understand how every planet appears, or if you need detailed description of it, you can just ping on that and it will give you detailed structure of everything. You can try that application later on. It is available in a light version as well as the full-fledged application. You can install any of them freely. So moving forward, when we talk about virtual reality, as I told you, in case of virtual reality, you need to enter into a virtual world. So it is definitely not possible with the naked eyes or with the help of the same glasses that you might be wearing. They don't have that capability to take you to the virtual world. So again, there will be a requirement to have some specialized equipments that we call headsets, VR headsets. So you will find them from variety of companies. We are going to discuss that one by one ahead. And there are plenty of industries that are currently working in AR and VR specifically for the education sector. Because the biggest advantage of this is that we can have live interaction with every element that you are trying to teach to your students, and student can explore that with complete 360-degree viewpoint of any item. Like maybe if they want to experience that how vehicle engines or maybe any motor etc functions, so they can have a visualization like this. So the student is wearing a VR headset here, and this visualization that we can see here is what they are looking inside the headset right now. So they can interact with all these elements. For instance, let us consider a case when you are teaching something in your classroom, maybe a functionality of an engine or maybe a motor, anything that you are teaching to your students. So when we are teaching, we follow a specific approach. Step by step, we have just described this thing. But maybe in your entire class, like here, you might be sitting like more than 100 people. One of you may be interested in a different part of that equipment in comparison to other people. So teacher may have one perspective, but maybe that student wants to know more about any internal component inside that arrangement. So these things help them. They can just touch that part specifically, and they will enter inside the immersive experience of that part only, so that they can explore every minute part of that entire assembly or arrangement precisely based on their interest. And this is the beauty of AR and VR in education, that it can give your students opportunity to explore their individual interest instead of being dependent on what teacher is telling them or what books have for them, because they can understand every part as per their interest. And maybe later on, if for example you are demonstrating just a vehicle in front of the students, maybe one of them may be more interested in the interiors, and other may be more interested in the engine assemblies, and some other may be interested in your vehicle manufacturing process. So they can have their own interest and they can operate it based on the technology out there. Similarly, if your students are just exploring something out of the your constellations or maybe planetary information they need, they can again visualize that in front of them. And maybe if you are trying to teach them more about sun, but some of them are interested to know more about any other planet, so they can just hover over that and they will help. It will help them to understand complete details about that particular planet. So they can expand their knowledge by utilizing this information. So before we move ahead, what requirements you have on the hardware side? Just a quick visualization of this. When you begin with the technology, maybe in your institutions later on, if you need these to use this technology, so what are your first step of requirements? So the upper one, you can see a set of VR equipments, and these ones are a set of AR equipments that you may require. In case of VR, as I told you, we need some headsets. These are some box kind of headsets you will find. And several companies are designing them. For example, you will find headsets from the Google itself. You will find from the Oculus. HTC is also designing. Even Samsung is also designing. So there are plenty of companies for this. Similarly, in case of ER, we have some specialized goggles for this purpose. And these can help you to visualize the things that we are imparting here. Or maybe you are just superimposing some plants or maybe anything from the domain. So students can visualize this with the help of the specialized glasses. So the first most requirement, although in the beginning, this is definitely an expensive fare for the organizations, because they need to arrange all these headsets and they are definitely expensive as well. But once your organizations have these, you can just imagine how your students will be able to learn every factor out of the syllabus that you are trying to teach them. They will be able to explore every part of it. Now, one more interesting fact. When you are trying to buy these things, maybe later on, if you promote these things at your college, that we have these headsets and we can buy this. So your management will have first question at how much expense we have to make, because that is the first requirement. So if you just try to search these headsets on Amazon, maybe on Flipkart, anywhere you just try to search, you will find different options. Some of these headsets are available at a cost of 4,000, 5,000 easily. And some of these are available with 35,000, 40,000. Variable range you will find. So each one of those products are going to have different specifications. How you want to use them, that depends on your requirements or your subjects that you want to teach, or how you want to utilize it in the long run. For instance, the ones that are available at a cost of maybe 4,000, 5,000, they will be brand specific. It means most of the time you will be able to run applications of that specific brand only on those headsets, because one part is using this hardware, but they will work only if you have a supportive application in them. These headsets, the same headset can work in the gaming sector, same headset can work in agriculture domain, same headset for the real estate, same headset for the education purpose. But which type of application you want to integrate with it, that will depend on your purchase process. So if you are restricted that, okay, I'm fine if I can use application supported by Samsung only, so you can go ahead with the headset provided by them. But if you go ahead with some good quality headsets such as from Google or Oculus, etc., so they may provide you range of support services. Means you can get application from any company, whoever is supporting your subject, whoever is designing application based on your subject area, and you can run them on the same headset. So that gives you more freedom. Although investment will be more in the beginning, but later on you are definitely going to have more freedom to utilize it. Same happens with your AR systems. In case of AR, there is one additional requirement, your compatible mobile phones or tablets. Although most of the 5G enabled phones that are in the market these days, they come with the AR compatibility. So you can easily use them with a variety of AR applications. But some old versions of mobile phones are not compatible with this. So accordingly, you may have to make some purchase in your laboratories. So this is the part of expenses. We have just gone through the ideas that you need in your environment. At the same time, the domain further can be divided into two areas. Maybe in future, if your students also want to explore the world of AR and VR, and they are interested to know that how they can proceed in their career with this particular technology. So there are different ways. One is to utilize AR and VR in your educational career. So you just get applications from different companies depending upon your subject requirement. Maybe you want to do like training for the welding workshop. So a specific company will provide you application to lead that training. You want to do training for maybe fireworks, then another company may provide you application for that. But second career domain for students as well as for all you, if you have interest in this, is the development sector, the ones who are developing those applications. So if anyone is efficient in coding, anyone who is better, well versed with the development of new softwares, they can even enter into the software development or application development sector to support AR VR industry. And this is a very high paying industry, we can say these days. People are earning even while sitting in some rural areas at their home. They are serving some major companies in all over world and they are getting handsome packages. So this is the scope we can see with the technology. But coming back to your educational perspectives, let us have a quick idea with the help of a video here. We'll just try to see how your technology will work. There is one option given by your recent companies that we have. They have designed this complete kit. You can see what options they have in this. This is the experience that students can have. They have already tested it in different educational environments. This is about different assemblies that they can check. For the medical sector, anatomy of brain, anatomy of heart, everything they can explore independently. So they have distributed these things in schools already in different countries and they are testing the outcomes, and this is very good until now as per the tests they have conducted. So this is from the Z Space company, one of the most popular manufacturer in the AR VR industry. And they can even customize things as per specific requirement of organizations. They also take custom things. So if you have any specific requirement that for this particular subject or laboratory we need a special setting, they can customize it for you. And now moving ahead with specifically with the augmented reality, that how you can utilize it in your teaching learning processes. First of all, because as I told you that in case of augmented reality, we can just impart something into your surrounding world. So for instance, you want to teach your students with some specific workshop operations. Just a hypothetical condition we can take, like you want to give some repair instructions to the students, or maybe some typical assembly task they have to execute. So what is the major problem for teachers, for the schools, as well as for students in that case? You need all the hardware arrangements within your laboratories. And when your students try to handle it for the first time, when they have no idea about the workshop environment, no idea about what they have to do exactly, chances of getting things damaged is more. So you just buy some expensive things, expensive hardwares, and you allow your beginners to work on them and things get damaged over there and you may have to buy them time and again. To save that cost in the long run, because every year you are getting some new students and every year the same thing may be repeated over there. This happens in almost every laboratory. So how we can save the cost in the long run? With the help of this AR technology. We can provide them a scenario where with the help of the headsets only, they can experience everything. The training we can give them on the simulators itself. And once they are trained, on the subject matter on or the laboratory settings that you want to provide them. After that, you can allow them to go to the real-time laboratory settings. This is going to be a cost-cutting solution for the schools or for your colleges in the long run. And at the same time, students will get more confidence when they are sent into the real-time environments because they have already explored things. The same thing happens when you work on the simulators. If any of you are from the electrical or electronics background, you might have seen that so many simulators are already there. So when you design your basic electronic circuit, we first design them on the simulators, and then we just test that every wiring is working fine, and then we go to the hardware side. So that is also a solution to cut the cost on the hardware side, because we can make students experienced on the simulators first, and this boosts their confidence also. When you send them first time on the hardware directly, they are always fearful, and due to that fear only they are going to make mistakes, which leads to some costly affair for the organizations. So if we have some quick idea about how this is going to work, this ICD company has designed one book. With the help of AR, they can visualize every component that is printed on the book. See this. This is what they are visualizing right now.
This is called the drive gear because it is driven by a motor, and it in turn meshes with and drives the movement of the second gear. A rotary vane pump is a positive displacement pump that consists of vanes mounted to a rotor. The vanes are on an off-center drive shaft. As the shaft rotates, the variable length vanes slide in and out to maintain contact with the pump housing. Piston pumps come in many different forms. A swash plate is a device used to translate the motion of a rotate shaft into the reciprocating motion of a piston. Swash plate piston pumps have a rotating shaft connected to a cylinder block containing pistons, which are pressed against the stationary swash plate that sits at an angle to the cylinder.
This is a step further when they have to implement it in the laboratory sessions. So what we have observed from here, although they are reading simple books that we have read, but in our case only the image was the idea. We could see only one side image, whatever photos they have added. But they can get a 360-degree view of everything. They can further explore every part of it. The assemblies, etc., everything is explained by the application further. So these types of books currently are being available in almost every domain. Although the process is going on, like for the very minor thing, you may not find a book right now, but still several companies are working in this direction, and they are taking regular feedbacks from the teachers and the students to create best books that can help to develop very basic concepts among students. You have seen that when they were completing the assembly of that particular shaft over there. So every part of that was displayed one by one, that how everything is being connected over there. So students can explore every item separately, and based on that, they can make their connections further. And this automatically boosts the content understanding for the students, because they are identifying every item separately. And this is going to help them to understand the subject from the core, not just the outer. Because we have seen this several times when we teach students in the laboratory, that they are familiar with the parts outside. That's okay. But when there is a time to troubleshoot something, they are in the fear always, because they are not well versed with the things that are inside. They find it difficult to diagnose things when there are some errors on the hardware side. But if they have understood every part of the component easily, the inner side, the outer side, everything is clear to them, they can definitely diagnose everything very well. And this can be useful for their career as well, because one difference that we have seen over the years between the education and between your industry based skills that are required is the gap between theory and practical. That is the biggest challenge for the students. Several times we say that we are producing this number of engineers, but they are not accommodated by the companies further. The main reason is the difference between the theory and the practical that they can implement. They have studied everything in the book, but when someone put some practical work in front of them, they are always in fear. So they are not able to implement it with the confidence. So these things can add on to their knowledge, and they will definitely be more friendly with the environment. So this is going to enhance the overall learning environment for the students. And one more factor, if we add into the system, this is going to simplify the design process as well. One is to understand things that are already designed, but other part is to design things from the scratch. Taking one example, like if we have to do some city plan or maybe village plan, trying to design a new city. So earlier what we had is we just could plot some drawings, etc., or we can just put every part together without visualizing how later on it will be functional. But with the help of these technologies, everything we can visualize in advance, just to ensure that if we are constructing a building at this position, a hospital at this position, commercial and residential area at this position, how it will be functional in the long run. Because sometimes we make some design mistakes that the path for hospitals get more traffic prone, and we are not able to pass traffic accurately in some emergency situations. So all those things we can check in advance before doing the final construction. The same thing we can do for the building designs, because when we are constructing some big buildings, if there are some design mistakes that are not visualized with the drawings, but when we see the functional part of it, we can visualize that clearly. So that also is going to cut the cost in the long run. So for the civil part, for the interior design part, for the construction sector, everywhere this is going to be very useful. For the students who work on the design plans, they can also get an idea from here. So let me give you one quick idea about how the city plans can be managed with the help of this technology. You can see this on the table. They have designed everything, and we can see the indicator of everything, that how everything is placed in that complete city design. And if there is some blockage anywhere, if the paths are not accurate for certain buildings that require emergency access, so we can plan this in advance. So this can be like a smart city project we can create with the help of the technology, and the experts can visualize every factor of it in advance. This is on the terms of a big project for the entire city, but at every level, on the small segment, on the big segment, everywhere we can visualize this. And you all might have heard about the real estate planning that is happening these days. People do not visit the site first, they just see a 360-degree video of site first. In most of the cities, this thing is applicable right now. So what they do, the builders provide you a 360-degree view of the particular flat or the property that they are trying to sell you, and you can visualize every element of it. You can just navigate through different doors, different rooms, the kitchen area, the bathroom, the bedroom, everything you can navigate with the help of the prior video arrangements. That is also with the help of this kind of technologies. They give you live access to everything. And if the person is good with the design or the structure that they are seeing in the video, then only they can plan their visit to the site to finalize their purchase. So this is definitely going to be useful for the builders as well as for the buyers, because they need not to visit like 10 or hundreds of sites before making purchase. They can just visualize the videos, and once they find something good, then they can plan their visit to the site. So this is further going to help students, when we talk about students' case, to enhance their retention abilities. Because when we are reading something on the books, on the paper, that is one factor. This is a monotonous kind of study that from the past several years we are following. But when we are interacting with the things, it is definitely going to be great achievement for the student, because everything will be retained in their mind because they have interacted with every part of it. And when we talk about this memory enhancement, it is further connected to sensory development as well, because they are experiencing every component with their interest, and this is fed in their sensing capabilities. They can understand every part of it from the beginning. Sometimes we say that your fingers remember spellings because you have a habit of writing that. Although these days this is not so true because we are all busy with the computers, we have dropped the habit of writing, but still your fingers remember the spelling. So if someone asks you to say it, you may fail, but if someone asks you to write, you will always be right. So that is your sensory development, because you have practiced this for the long run. So the same thing happens with the teachings also. When you are teaching students some new subjects, if they are connected to it with the interactive experiences, they could interact with every element of the project that you are discussing in front of them, they will definitely remember it for the long run. And they can have, yes, please.
Ma'am, the example that you showed in which we have a city plan on the table.
Hmm.
So is it that the viewers are using some glasses to look at
Yes.
it, or we are projecting it on the table?
That will be with the help of glasses, because projection thing that is also available in the market. That is a different technology where you project something on the table. But this one that we are talking about, it is with the help of AR gadgets.
Which also means maybe there are 10, 15 viewers. So
each one of them may require.
And each one of them will see the same exact thing.
Yes, they can interact with the specific one also.
So is it also possible if one person is at that end and is looking at those buildings and someone else is looking at
Yes, that control they get on their gadgets itself.
So they would need a screen to...
Yes, they will have a compatible tablet or screen for this, so that they can interact with it further. So after this, I'm adding up one more video here. This is specifically for the welding training. One of the most complicated things that is presented to the students, because I am also from the electronics background. And when we were in the diploma sessions, in the first year itself, they used to send us into the workshops where we have to do welding, the arc welding, very typical things we have to do there. But students in the beginning get some fear of it, that how they have to use the equipments out there and how safely they can do it. And this is a challenge for the teachers as well. So this welding training with the help of AR handsets, or with the help of the complete arrangement, the kit that they have designed, this can make your students precise with their joints before they start doing it on the real hardware. And how well it works, let me show you. This is a screen that shows the welding. This thing the student is doing right now. They are making no joints, but the imagination that they are getting in their headset, this is like they are preparing the complete joint. The accuracy, the precision they can get on this. Otherwise, they are wasting no component in your laboratories. The surrounding people will be seeing that, the before one, where nothing is happening. So this may be like a joke for the people who are standing around. But the person who is wearing the headset, he will see the real welding process.
सिमुलेशन है काइंड ऑफ इसकी जो प्रोग्रामिंग होती है ये एग्जैक्ट तो नहीं होती बट क्लोज टू रियलिटी होती है
यस
बहुत सारे फैक्टर्स आते हैं फिर प्रॉपर आर्क वेल्डिंग करे तो
यस जो रियल वर्ल्ड फैक्टर्स हैं वो तो उसमें इतने एक्यूरेट नहीं होंगे, बट जो प्रिसीजन जॉइंट्स का है एटलीस्ट उसकी प्रैक्टिस स्टूडेंट्स कर सकते हैं. सो यू माइट हैव सीन कि हर तरह के जॉइंट्स, almost every kind of joint students can practice. But when students based on the traditional practices do this thing, They waste so much of equipments in your laboratories. They have to create so many joints before getting to that precise level. So this is again a cost saving solution in the long run. Although in the beginning we have to invest on the equipment as well as on the application, but for every year you need not to worry about that wastage that beginners make over there, because they will at least have an idea that how specific joint is to be prepared and where they have to place the holder, or how they have to control the arc. Everything they will get an idea with the help of a simulator out there. And similarly, if we can talk about one more application over here. This is for the electronics designs. So I have just kept idea from almost every domain over here to just get you an understanding about how it can be utilized. So this kind of designs we generally do in laboratory settings, and we have real components over there, microcontrollers, resistors, capacitors, everything we have to place ourselves. But again, students get terrified with this when they have to do it for the first time. I have seen several students who are very conscious about that they will get a shock when they connect their boards over there on the breadboard. Although it doesn't happen, I have not experienced it any time. I'm working on these designs, I'm training students on these designs, and from 2007 onwards I'm in the core electronics department. So this is working fine, but still that fear we need to take out from the students as a teacher in the beginning. And these simulators can help you to do that. For instance, if I run this, you will see every part. This is the thing that student can visualize in their headset. This is a real setting that they are following based on that. So they can even have a comparative approach. So this is a kind of arrangement for the electronics people. And similarly, we will see for some other domains also. Several times you will find a combination of AR and VR also for this. Because in VR, when you just want to enter into that field environment or in that workshop environment, so you can visualize that. But when something you have to impose in your any conference hall or anywhere, so then you can definitely use the AR conditions over there. So when we talk about VR now, in this case also, some common applications you can see, like some product designing processes, some virtual trainings you have to provide to the students, or maybe in the retail sector also, when we have to just experience something, like you are sitting here and you want to get a tour to Paris. So you can just wear your headset and you will be taken to that place, and you can even navigate over there. You will be allowed to walk in that area, and you can just visualize it anyway. You can look up and you will see the sky. You can look side by any side, and accordingly everything will be visualized on that. But it completely depends on what kind of application you are using, because the control will be with the help of application. So we have utilized this VR headset also within this NITR environment. You will find some AR VR arrangement. There is a laboratory also for this purpose. So there we have experienced it several times. So how we work on this VR headsets? Many of you might have watched some movies that allow you to wear some 3D glasses, and you can just visualize everything like it is happening around you. So the similar kind of sample you can take for the VR. And what we do when we use it in some laboratory settings, so you just wear your headset. It comes with three things. One is the wearable headset, and there will be two handheld units. So you just have to put them the same as the joysticks or the gaming remotes that you have. So similar kind of thing you will have. You can put them in both your hands. They will be written over it, like this is for the right hand, this is for the left hand, so that you can manage your controls accordingly. So what we do when we wear the headset, the first thing it will ask is, it will ask you to mark your boundary. This is a part of disadvantage of the technology we can discuss here. Because when someone is wearing a VR headset, they are totally disconnected from the real world around. They have no idea what is happening around because they are completely immersed into a virtual world. So when they start interacting somewhere, they may even hit people around them. They may even jump on some things around in the laboratory environment. So being a part of safety measures, it will first ask you to mark your boundary so that at least you stay within that. If you jump outside it while working on the virtual world, you will get an error on your screen and it will say that you are outside your boundary. So that at least people around you are also safe when you are into the virtual world. So what we do, we just wear that headset and it will ask you to mark your boundary. So you will just use that handheld device and you will mark around on all sides. That will be a circle you will be marking around. And you can see that within your screen that this is my circle. That visualization you will have, not the people outside. They will not be able to see that circle. But you will see that within your glasses. That, okay, this is my boundary and within this I can do anything now. So once you have marked your boundary, then it will ask you that which application you want to use. So whether it is a gaming application or maybe some education application, you can choose that. It will be on the settings menu. So it will be like a complete computer screen you will see on your glasses, on your headset itself. And with the help of those handheld units, you can choose the options out there. So maybe if you have installed like 5-6 different applications on your headset, you can choose one of them, which one you want to use. So several people here have used it for the boxing ring games, just for the trial purpose. So they could choose the boxing ring over there and a ring gets placed in their virtual background and they could play a game with some superior players. They could see them in front of them and they could play over there. Similarly, some tennis games, some badminton games, anything you can play within that. This is for the gaming sector when we talk. Similarly, for the education sector also, you can have the similar kind of visualizations. Maybe you want to enter a laboratory setting. So this was an essential part during the pandemic recently, when we have seen that several students completed their education from home, even in the engineering domain. They have no idea about how laboratories appear. They have no idea about how components appear in their specific field. They have completed their education from home and for the final year only, they could come to the campus. So that was a lack of, we can say, like infrastructure we had in the distance education mode. But at present, these technologies are helping in this case also. If the students have the headset, we can give them an experience to enter into the laboratory setting that are designed with the application. I'll show one example of that also. And they can just handle different equipments out there. They can just work in the laboratory setting even while sitting at their home. So this just requires the hardware as well as the application in their hand, and accordingly they can work. For instance, if I just add one video over here, this is for the laboratory setting. The thing that person can visualize within their headset, the complete 360-degree environment of the laboratory. And let us see how it works. Selections that they can make with handheld device. They are placing the components. All the control settings are appearing here.
And all this is going on with the movement of hands.
Yes. The handheld units will help you to control everything. This black one, this you can see here, this is basically your hand at the time. On the screen, you will find it like this. Depending upon what kind of application you are using, you will find different structures for it. Sometimes it appears like your hand only, sometimes it appears like a remote over there. So accordingly, they can use. this was one for the electronics background. And along with this, we can see one more. This is for the electrical people. The wiring concepts that you always teach to your students, but of course, that is a difficult thing. And of course, we cannot even send students to someone's home to do wiring. They do not have that kind of experience. But if with the help of simulator, we can give them some challenges that you have to complete wiring of this particular room by using simulator, so they can handle it personally over there, and they can make every joint precisely, and you can check it later on that how they have performed it. So this is one idea for completing your electrical task. And there is one more interesting part of this. You can even have virtual field trips with the help of these headsets. Let us take one most difficult example that we have for the construction people. We cannot send your students to the construction site directly because that involves so many risk factors over there. So first year students cannot go there. Maybe by the final year they have some idea, so they can visit the construction site and see what is happening there. But at least by using simulators, you can train them to utilize those environments. The safety instructions or the procedures that they have to follow in that environment, everything we can tell them in advance. And for this, I'll be taking one video from the site itself. Right from the beginning, you will observe every part in it. The safety instructions that student will get, the essential task instruction that student will get, and at the same time, if they do something right or wrong, they will also get an indication of it. So this will be like a full-fledged training for the student. Like if they are going right on the construction site, if they are not in some risky zone, everything they will get on their screen, every instruction they will find. So let us see how it appears. First, this is a person who has arrived at the setting, and this is the site we can see in all directions. This is how person can visualize it. If they just turn their head, they will see these things around. Now this is the to-do list they are getting. The first thing is to get their safety procedures, all the safety equipment that they have to wear. So everything we can see, they are wearing their belts, etc., the safety terminals or the gloves, etc., everything they can see here. The next task displayed on their screen. Now they are climbing the ladder. So the safety procedure that they have to follow. They first have to tie their rope and then they can start visiting. They are also getting the direction information, that which direction they need to follow to go ahead. So this is the second floor they are seeing now. How to use lift at construction site. that training also we can provide. Next to-do list they are getting, and accordingly they can follow it. So they got an instruction that they have to close the hole. So accordingly they can pick it. And they got the right tick that the task is okay. So this was from the construction site, and this can definitely be very useful for the beginners, those who don't have that confidence of visiting construction site. Even for the teachers this is very beneficial, because at least they can train their students in advance, and after that they can take them to the visit for a specific construction site. And in the similar manner, this is going to support students as well as teachers for the distance learning, because it is not always possible कि जिस जगह पे आपका institution है, at the same place you can find a construction site around. So if that is a barrier, again you can have this simulator in your institution, and at least your students can explore things, and later on maybe you can plan a visit to some other city where they can visit the construction sites. So one more thing I'm adding here is for health sector, just to visualize how it is supporting people in the health sector as well, because this is one of the most critical area, we can say. Doctors get trained with a span of 4 or 5 years to do some things, but if we have to train the beginners on some critical evaluation procedures, that has been always a challenge in the medical sector, because we cannot send the beginners into the ICUs directly. The risk prone areas require more safety procedures, but we can at least train the beginners or the trainers out there with the help of simulators, how they can handle the pressure prone conditions in the ICU units. So let us see one example of this.
You're with a stable patient when he starts to have a cardiopulmonary emergency. Your code team is off dealing with another emergency. It's clear there's little time to help this patient. It's been 10 months since your last ACLS certification. You're racking your brain trying to remember the right algorithms, but you can't. Sound familiar? It does to your clinical staff. ACLS competency decays within months after certification for those who work in non-critical care areas. With today's in-hospital cardiac arrest survival rates of 11 to 35%, it's clear that we can do better. So, how can you implement high-impact refresher training across your entire system? Training that doesn't require expensive equipment, people resources, or time-consuming setup? Enter virtual reality. Health Scholars' new ACLS virtual reality simulation.
This is the ICU setup that students can see. And this is the person who is operating. So they can interact with the persons out there. And you will see that they will be calling each other by name. And if the student instructs something wrong, even that simulator is going to help them that this is not wrong. This is not right. You have to change your statement or you have to correct it so that the patient can be saved. So this can be a complete live experience for the students out there. See every part of it carefully.
Stable, unstable, and cardiac arrest scenarios, effectively recreating the stress of a megacode.
Mr. Nelson is a 56-year-old man who's here for a PIC line.
The learner takes on the role of team lead, identifying different cardiac waveforms and using state-of-the-art voice recognition technology to direct virtual team members.
Andre, start chest compressions.
Starting compressions.
To shock, perform CPR.
Phyllis, let's go ahead and shock the patient.
Charging. All clear. And administer meds.
Aaron, administer 1 milligram of epinephrine.
Giving 1 milligram of epinephrine. Following AHA guidelines, the VR simulation reinforces addressing team members by name and making eye contact.
Phyllis, give 6 milligrams of adenosine. Please use the name of the person.
See this very carefully. So she just advised that this milligram of drug you have to give. But she doesn't pronounce it with the specific name of the person who is authorized to do this. So the simulator corrected her that you have to call the specific person who is authorized to do this. Because in medical science, this is a great chance of discrepancy out there. If a wrong person is administrating something. So that is how it is correcting it on every part.
To whom you are speaking. Test situational awareness of team member fatigue, task performance, and code management principles.
I really need to switch.
Let's switch chest compressors.
And strengthens closed-loop communications.
Giving adenosine 6 milligrams.
It has all of the AHA core rhythms, plus post-arrest care.
The end tidal CO2 just spiked.
It lets your team easily practice, assess, and validate skills on their schedules. Learners are provided a debrief on failed waveform identification and on general code management principles needing improvement.
This simulation is over. Let's debrief. Thank you for taking the ACLS VR
So
assessment.
it says
Unfortunately,
the person
you did
failed
not pass.
because
All
some
for the same
instructions
cost
were
as
not
an e-learning
right.
course, and
So
earns
every time
50%
students
less
get
than
their
instructor-led
results also, that how they are performing.
ACLS virtual reality simulation can be done whenever, wherever, and however often it's needed at scale. With Health Scholars technology, you can schedule, administer.
So this was a part with medical science. There is one more risk-prone area in the education sector, especially when we are training students, about fire safety training. So in vocational training, as well as in some ITIs, etc., we have this part also. And there also, this technology can be very useful because we have specialized kits for this, where fire safety training can be provided to the students. And consider a case because when you have to train students to handle the fire-prone scenarios, how they can use extinguishers over there, how they can use different chemicals in those scenarios, we cannot burn fire in the campus to train them. That is the biggest challenge. But at least these simulators can help them to visualize those things. What kind of chemical combinations they need to use in different scenarios, depending upon what kind of fire we have. So all those things we can give them in the training itself. For instance, you can see this. VR fire training. There is a specific kit for it. The extinguishers they have to use.
Fight fires in different high-quality
The fire that they have created.
Choose between several
Selection.
extinguishing agents for various fire types. Experience realistic fire spreading, smoke development, and get analytics based on your performance. Everything you need for a realistic and immersive fire training, all enclosed in a military-grade Pelican case. Book a demo today.
So this was with your VR settings. Now we come to the part where we have mixed reality. That is basically your combination of AR and VR. And sometimes we take it a step further by utilizing other emerging technologies as well, such as your IoT sensor networks and your AI part. All them can be merged together to create a better sensory experience for the users out there. For instance, in some countries these days, they have created some tourism experiences for the people with the help of this mixed reality. So what they create is they design a tunnel kind of thing, and they allow visitors to go through that tunnel with the help of some different lorries or skates, etc., that they have designed. And they divide every part of that tunnel with the help of some specific sensory experiences. Like, for example, the first will be the colder one. They can see snow everywhere in that first phase of the tunnel. Then the next one may be like some fire prone experiences, like there are some things around that can be risky, or different experiences they can add on. Next to this, they can have some ghost experiences. So there will be a ghost imposed in front of them with the help of the technology. So that kind of tourism sector experiments people have done by now. So this can be also utilized in the education sector to give students some experience about specific environments. And how it works, for instance, you have the headsets with you, you have some applications also. So taking it at one level, when you are just wearing the headset and you are visualizing something in the virtual reality, you are just experiencing the digital world out there. But if you have to develop the sensory experience for the user, how we can do that? This is by using integrated technology from the IoT and AI. For instance, what IoT can do here? Maybe we have created a specific simulated environment that we are just visualizing with the headset. But the person needs to feel it on their skin or maybe with their senses. So the IoT sensor networks can help in that. For instance, we just create a cold environment in the tunnel, but how that cold a person can feel? Just by looking at the snow, we cannot feel that. If it is on the screen, then we cannot feel that this is cold here. We need some arrangement around. So what we can do is we can put some IoT sensor network over there that can measure temperature, humidity, etc., all relevant settings in that particular area. And with that measurement that IoT sensor network does, we can take some controls with the help of AI-based settings, some intelligent algorithms we can deploy. So based on that, which part of the tunnel a person is experiencing at that time, the settings will be applied. So there may be some air conditioning controls, there may be some heating systems out there that will be turned on automatically, so that the person feels that cold on their senses, on their skin itself, when the AC is taken to that part. And similarly, when they are entering into some other area where there is fire around, so they may have to change the temperature again. So again, that IoT sensor network can actuate some new items over there, some heating arrangements or maybe some heaters that they have placed in the area. So that will be switched automatically and the person can feel that again, that yes, I'm truly in that particular environment. So this is how the realistic environment can be created with the help of the technology itself. Instead of just limiting it on the screen, we can feel that with our senses. We can just hear things around. We can feel that on our skin. We can just understand that there is some temperature variation when we are visiting certain area. And for this, mixed reality can definitely help, because this, what are the benefits of this? Basically, this gives you idea with the help of environmental observations. The first thing that you get with the help of senses out there. Secondly, based on human understanding, that how a person may feel in a specific environment. So the AI models can help in that. So we may train some AI models based on the requirement at that time, and accordingly they can impart some knowledge in the surrounding areas. Then we can also have the 360-degree audio experiences, because you might have heard that in some areas they project some dinosaurs around or some tigers around, some animals around. So how we can feel that if we can listen to them, their roar, we can listen somehow. So that with the help of the 360-degree sound experience, that also can be controlled with the help of IoT sensor networks. We can turn on those speakers whenever required. And similarly, based on locations, for example, if we are visiting a longer area and we just need to experience every part of it differently, so we can control that again with the help of additional applications and hardware arrangements out there. So one amazing application out of this you can see here is with the help of this mixed reality. One thing you will observe that the students are sitting and we have some empty space here, and none of these students are wearing any kind of headsets. This is little bit advanced version of it, where we impart things directly into the environment. And you will see one amazing thing that arrives in the classroom. This is not in reality, but everyone can see it over there. This is the impact of mixed reality. And at this point, when the water comes in, the students may even experience some water droplets on their body. And how that works? With the help of your sensor networks, that they will generate some senses around based on the experience that they are creating. So you can visualize it once again. The similar things you will see with the help of holographic devices. They are also one of the most popular thing for the industries these days. And you will see many private universities are also keeping these holograms in their premises these days as a part of their marketing strategy, as well as to teach their students about this. So one last video I have here for the holograms. This is a complete experience with all the technologies combined together.
Axial Holographics produces more hologram devices for more industries than any other company in the field. Perhaps you've seen holograms in movies like Star Wars or Star Trek. Holograms are objects that look solid, but they're made out of light. We do this with laser projection, and we're also the company that invented the multi-user lightweight bending technology that allows multiple people to see a hologram at the same time. For architecture, we have full-size hologram rooms where multiple people can go in together and walk through life-size CAD models or polygon
This is the
designs.
plant projection that I was telling you.
For government and town planning, we have hologram business tables. These project holograms up to 70 centimeters high. You can zoom in on all of the detail. A few years ago, our company produced the world's most powerful graphics engine for running laser scans and point cloud data. So these hologram rooms can project entire cities or entire countries. For entertainment, we have hologram dinosaur rooms where up to 5 people can go in together on a dinosaur adventure. Trials of hologram entertainment rooms have shown them to be extremely profitable. We also build hologram arcade machines. These are like traditional arcade machines, except the characters are made using laser light and they project up to 90 centimeters away from the screen. There are 15 games available at present. Each machine comes with 6 games, and the games are all 4 players. For live shows, conferences, and advertising, we have holograms that project on stage. They don't need any glasses at all if you're more than 3 meters away, but they do require a level of darkness. If you would like to get attention for your restaurant, we have hologram menu machines where customers can see the meals float in the air and choose from a menu. For museums, we have hologram walls. We also have holographic tours of real-world places. This is where we scan in the real world, and then people with a controller in their hand can go on an interactive tour. The whole thing's been perfectly calibrated to real-world size and depth. So it looks like a hole in the wall that projects into a totally different environment. We have plenty of devices for selling real estate, either off the plan or scanning in something that already exists. We have full hologram rooms for universities or hologram walls for ordinary schools. We also have all of the devices necessary for scanning in your corporate assets. If your company owns factories, hotels, or shopping malls, this is a wonderful way to do your planning or to give visitors a tour of your scattered assets. Or for something really big, we have 20-meter-long hologram tunnels. They project real depth to look like a window where you can see out in all directions. The holograms come 3 meters out of the wall into the tunnel where the people can touch them. In 2019, we came second in the world's largest.
So this was a part of hologram experience. And lastly, we can see some sources if in future you need that, what are the companies that are providing content in this direction. So this is a list of companies that are actively working in the education sector these days to create content related to specific subjects for the specific classes, for the college, school, every part of the curriculum. So they have variety of books, etc., applications, and other supporting materials available for the teachers and students. Similarly, if someone is interested into the designing part or need knowledge about applications, they can utilize these softwares. Some of these are available with subscription. So your organization may have to pay some amount and then they can start utilizing it. Few of them are available with little bit of free access as well, because this is a new technology these days. So it is difficult to get a complete free access, but still some part of this you can experience as a beginner with the free access as well. Those who are interested in developing sector, maybe app development or some VR application designs they have to create. The popularly used applications include this Unity and Infinity. They allow you to create complete coding based designs. And you can just create some games, etc., or maybe any of the educational materials by utilizing these. So this is all from my side regarding your AR, VR technologies in teaching learning. If we have any queries, the house is open.